Welcome to the Art Lady channel. Today we're going to be making pressed texture clay angels. And the first thing that we're going to do with our clay angels, and this is, you can do this with any kind of clay. We're using earth clay, clay that comes from the earth, or you could call it ceramic clay as well. This is clay that needs to be fired in a kiln. I'm taking a ball of the clay or a blob of the clay that is a little under 2 inches. And that's our start clay. From the start clay, we're going to be pinching off a shape that is the space of or the size of a grape, of the size of a strawberry, and the size of a blueberry. So 3 different pieces that are coming off. So I'm going to take my clay and I'm just going to pinch off a strawberry size blob. And as I pinch it off, I'm assessing it. Is it a strawberry or a little bit too big? A little bit too big, so I just pinch off some more. I'm not playing with this clay. The object is to barely touch it, just so that you pull it apart. The more you play and touch the clay, the drier it becomes. And dry clay is no good clay. So I've got my strawberry. The next blob I'm going to pinch off is a grape. And actually that's big enough right there for that grape that I had left over from the strawberry. So I'm going to pinch off my grape. There it is. And then the last size I'm going to pinch off is one that's the size of a blueberry. And there is my blueberry size blob. So now I should have 1, 2, 3 that I've pinched off, and 1 that's left over. We're going to use all of this clay in our angel project today. Now we need to roll it, the 3 of them, into quick balls. Now I'm going to start small and work up big. This is the blueberry right here, size ball, and I'm going to put it in the center of my hand, and I'm going to roll it for 2 seconds. If I roll this any longer, it's going to dry this small volume of clay out very, very quickly. And when it's dry, I then can't make anything else with it if I want to, because we're going to start with a ball, then transfer it into another shape. So a 2-second roll. So to do the rolling, I place it in the concave part of my hand, and I'm going to place my other hand on top, and I'm going to rub in a circular motion, and I'm going to move my upper hand clockwise, round and round and round and round for 2 seconds. So here we go. 1, 2, and that's it. This does not have to be a perfectly formed ball. It's just a 2-second ball to get the shape to start something else. So I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to take now the next pinch of clay, which is the size of the grape. I'm going to put that in my concave part of my hand. This hand, when it dips down like this, it makes the best circles. So I'm going to take my other, and it's going to be another 2-second roll. 1, 2. There you go. And those were fast 2-second rolls. I counted real fast. The key is don't touch and play with the clay. And you want to start out with really good, wet, fresh clay. You don't want to start out with something that's kind of dry, starting to dry. You want the real good, fresh, wet clay, because we're going to be bonding pieces together today, and we're not going to be using the slip method. So this is just a very wet clay that we're using. It's a quick way to make your little angel. If yours is a little bit drier, you might want to use the slip method of attaching, but I'll talk to you about that in a minute. The next piece is the strawberry. Place the strawberry in the center of your hand, press your hand down, and roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A 5-second ball there. Place that aside. Now the rest of this clay, I'm going to roll into a ball. But first, if it's really in an unusual free-form shape here, like mine is, you might want to do some pressing. So I'm just going to press this just to help roll it a little bit better. And then I'm pressing here. Notice I'm not really smushing it all in my hands like this, because I don't want all my hands parts of my hand to take away that moisture. That's real important. The moisture needs to stay in the clay so we can use this clay. So I place it in the concave part of my hand. The other hand comes on top, and I'm going to do a very fast 10-second roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, and leave it. Perfect. Now, my hand is quite wet from that roll, okay? But if you do it any longer, I see some kids just going and going and going and going, and it's just taking all the wetness out, and it'll start cracking. So quick, quick, quick. That's the real important thing today, is to do things very quickly when you're rolling and touching that clay. Next, we're going to make a patty. Now, I don't pound my patties. What I do to make a clay patty is, so basically I want to flatten this out. I'm going to take the palm of my hand and I'm going to press with the muscle right here in my thumb. And I'm going to place that, and I'm going to put my other hand on top, so the big part of my hand muscles here, right in the center. My next hand is here, and I'm just going to push down hard. Now I'm going to do it again, push, push, and I've moved on each edge, and I want this to be an evened slab or an even thickness cookie. Now, I don't want the cookie to be skinnier than my pinky finger. Now, you measure with yours. Mine's a little fat, but I don't want it to be skinnier than your pinky finger. So you want to make it so that it is as skinny, but not skinnier. And you don't want it to be fatter. So when I put my pinky finger next to this, this is sticking up higher. So that means I need to mush this down a little bit more. And sometimes if you take even your fist and press, press, press. Now when we do this, we're working on a clay surface. You can use a clay mat, a cardboard. Every once in a while, flip it over. You can see all the moisture now. The moisture has been gone away, has been taken away from my clay. The more you play, the drier the clay becomes. So you want to be careful with that. And I'm going to press it again on this side using my fist. I keep on flipping every once in a while so it doesn't stick to the clay mat even. And I'm just using paper here for this demonstration. And then flip it over the last time once you have your cookie. Now look, you don't want it to be any skinnier than the thickness of your pinky, the tip of your pinky finger here, down in here. So you don't want it to be skinnier. You want it to be like the shape of a cookie. The thickness of a cookie, and if you measure with a ruler, it's approximately 1/4 inch thick. You don't want it to be fatter because then you won't be able to bend it. Okay, so then you take your cookie, place it on your mat. Now I'm going to take my strawberry, and I'm going to press my strawberry down as well, just taking the palm of my hand, pushing, and then you might have to flip it over and push again, and you want it to be an even thickness piece. Once you have your cookie, the strawberry shape, now this strawberry shape will become the angel's halo. Now this is an example I started with the kids making wings attached, but then we decided we're going to be using feathers for wings. So we're not going to be making the halo out of, wings out of clay. So here's one right here. So this is the halo part of the head. This is the one, this is what we're making now. So we want to attach the halo to the body, and this will be the body once we're done here. So we want to attach this to this, and to do that, I'm going to overlap the halo onto the cookie. And when I overlap it, I'm overlapping just part of the bottom edge of the halo. If you look on this drawing right here, this is the part where the two pieces, the circle and the larger circle for the body, meets the halo right here, where they both go together. This is the line here where they intersect, both of them. So we're going to blend in this area into the dress of the body. So we're blending the top. So I'm pressing here where they intersect, where both circles come together. I'm pressing. Now, I don't want to press it so hard that I make my halo skinny or the cookie. I'm not going to get any thinner than this cookie right now. And now I'm going to slide the halo into the cookie with my finger. Right here. So it's a smooth blended line. I'm going to flip it over, and and if you notice, I have a small crack here. I want to blend this into here as well. So I'm going to take my finger, and you can either use the tip of your finger. I kind of like scratching with my fingernail. You can also use a wood tool and just kind of move the circle into the halo, or your dress into the halo, gently, without smashing or affecting the thickness of the halo or the cookie. So I don't want to change the thickness of this cookie shape. Sometimes when we blend, we push too hard, and this area becomes really skinny. So then when I pick it up, it just falls off. You want it to be attached good. Give it a little tug test here and tug and see if it's not coming off. If it's not coming off, then you're good to go. The next step we're going to do is we're going to take the grape size ball that we rolled, and this will become the head. I'm going to place the grape right where the two shapes intersected. Here's the circle from the halo, and then here's the circle from the body cookie. So I'm going to put it right there where both of them came together. And here it is right here. So that's where you would put your head shape, right there. And give it a small press right in there. Like I said, this clay is so wet. Just by pressing the two wet clays together, it's staying pretty good. I know that some of you might, if you have the slip, you can score it and slip it if you want to put some glue in. But this kind of clay that we work with at my school is real wet, so it's a simpler technique here. So, but go ahead and slip it if you'd like to. That's up to you. The next step right here is to take the blueberry. And I'm going to take the blueberry and I'm going to roll it a coil or a barrel out of it. So I'm basically going to take my finger and I'm going to draw up toward the top of the page, and then I'm pulling back down and I'm letting the clay roll on the end of underneath my finger. And so I'm rolling it and rolling it. And this is making what's called a coil. When it gets bigger, I can join two fingers. And if you do this fast, it's best to do it fast. And that's how we roll a coil. And this is going to become the hair. I'm going to put that aside, and I'm now going to fold in the dress. So I'm going to kind of give a little pinch here, and I'm going to pinch here. And now I'm going to bring down the halo. So I'm kind of pinching her around her neck. It's like kind of going squishing near her neck. Whoops. And now I'm going to fold the top of this circle in. So if I hold the center and I'm just putting my fingers under the top of this circle. So the top quarter of the circle, I bring my finger under, and then I'm supporting it with the index finger and I'm bending. So I'm going to bend this. See how it's coming over? I'm bending it over and down. And don't push real hard. Now if you get a little bit of cracks, this is just from me waiting too long and talking too much. Then bend. If you have some cracks, just smooth them out. Bend the same on this side. Fold it over. There. And then smooth any cracks out. Press in, smooth. Now don't worry too much because we're going to add some texture and pattern to this anyways. So once you have that, then you can place your hair on right here. Now you can decorate this hair. You can curl it. You can scratch pattern into it. And for the decorations, we're going to be using this tool. It's just a wood tool. You can also use a pointed wood tool. You can also use a pencil. This works well too. And for this, we're going to be pressing in 2 eyes to do the face. So I just simply press, press, and then I'm going to do the mouth. And this is a singing angel. So I'm going to press center. Let me bring it up so you can see better. Press it center, and then I rock it down, rock it up. And I end up with a little singing mouth, just like that. The next step, we want to add some kind of texture and pattern to the dress. So I'm using these rubber mats here with texture on them. It's basically a large stamp that doesn't have a wood block to it. You can also use smaller stamps and stamp in texture. Here's some more rubber stamps here. Or you can use basically anything you find around the room for texture. Here is a doily that can be rubbed in to give texture. But for this lesson, for my classes, we're using the rubber stamps. So we're going to place the rubber stamp down, and I just simply rub on top, and you can feel where the rubber stamp engages into the clay and starts picking up and starts making contact. If you just place it lightly and rub it, it's not making contact. But you can actually feel it as you press in. So press gently. You don't want to press, and you don't need to press so hard that it's smashing the clay. So you want to still keep it as thick as that original cookie. So place it on this side, place it on top, and rub a little. And look, the cracks and stuff just kind of go away. We don't see it anymore. Now you can add texture. Some kids pressed in. You can even press in your hair. Put pattern here if you'd like. I might make this a pattern almost like a crown coming around. And then for the hair, I might just scratch in right in here, right on the head. Give a little bit of hair there. Each one I kind of like to make differently. Now, if you go and get another little pinch of leftover clay, you can embellish this and add whatever else you want to it. And I'm going to show you what my 5th graders did. Oh, but first I'm going to go ahead and put in some buttons. If you want to press lightly down the dress and put some buttons in, because this is like a robe right here. You could even make this almost like a choir angel. It's singing, so that's kind of like the theme of this. Now, if you don't want to make an angel, you don't have to. Don't put the halo. That's up to you. I'm going to show you what my 5th graders did. And I let them embellish this any way they want to, because we're learning the processes of this. Our learning goals are how to use clay properly so that it doesn't dry out and so that we can make a successful art project. And how to add clay to each other. But I want your creativity. I want you to make it as creative as you can. So here are some examples of my 5th graders and what they did. This is really cool because they added a little smile, like a heart-shaped mouth here. And then they embellished it with little reading books. Somebody did little bows in the hair. And you can see they just were creative and added all different kinds of patterning. I liked the way they pressed in their texture here. Very creative, this class. And when you're pushing in texture, make sure you don't push real deep, because then it will crack. As it dries, this will just fall apart. We've got bows in the hair. And here's one last tray here. A little Bible. Some kids made Bibles. And this girl drew some bows on the dress with pattern. So be as creative as you like, and I hope you enjoyed our texture pattern angels.